So I'll go kind of side control type thing again. So some questions that I'd love to answer. What are it's a good question, and I think I have a cool kind of conceptual answer for this, but what are the 1 or 2 positions that are typically the most dominant that I should be looking to progress to? This depends on, let's say Graham's favorite submission is an arm bar, but my favorite submission is some type of way of hurting his foot, doing a foot lock. We are both going to have kind of different paths towards our favorite part of the fight, but in terms of dominance, a way to consider a dominant position is not just how many things that I can do, submissions, controls, all of these things, but how few or how little things my opponent can do. So for example, you might consider, and if we put the head slightly towards the camera here, you might consider a mount a very dominant position, but we could argue that a mount with some arms starting to be trapped here, this is a more dominant position. So it's more dominant, yes, because I can start to do a submission, but I would consider this more dominant because he is more physically stuck and tangled up. And I think everyone can agree that when you're sparring, at the end of a 5-minute roll, if somebody tapped you 10 times versus if somebody just completely pinned and physically controlled you for the whole 5 minutes, we can agree that both of these people, they bet us well, they did very good, but dominance, if you want to use the word dominance, that physical dominance is definitely option number 2. There can be lots of tricks and lots of knowledge gaps involved in submitting somebody. It can be easy to submit somebody with a lot of techniques if they just don't know about that technique yet. But it is a different story to completely physically dominate somebody. How might I, from a basic side control, think about maybe 1 or 2 ways to dominate Graham here? Hopefully this helps a lot. I'm on top of Graham in a side control, and he is trying to lift his head up lots. He might even be using this elbow on the ground even. If you just get yourself up, exactly. This person is getting up lots. For him to feel that this is working for him, he will feel that his head is coming up off the floor. Even if I stay in front of his guard, even if I'm not panicked here, I'm holding around his waist, he's not going to get his guard back maybe, but he wanted to get his head up and he succeeded in getting his head up. I am not dominating him. Let's go to that same situation again. I'm holding his hips. I notice that he wants to sit his head up, everything over the head and the chest. Holding his head, boom, clamping everything together. Yes, maybe I'm less focused on his legs now, but this is someone who wasn't really using their legs. This was a sit up their head person. And if I'm down here on the legs and he sits up his head and he succeeds on that, he starts to feel like he's going somewhere. He's feeling strong. So physically dominate him by paying attention to what it is that he's trying to move. We could think about someone who's trying to keep their head down, but keeps a few hip escapes there, Graham, beautiful, to get the legs back in. How can I physically dominate this person? Way more control on the legs, way more. Because I'm doing more control on the legs, you'll see I'm further from his head and his chest. So perhaps he could sit his head and his chest up now. But remember, he wasn't trying that. He was trying to move his legs a lot and his hips. So I physically dominate whichever parts that I can sense he is trying to move or which he is trying to push or twist or turn. Do not let him make a decision that he wants to make. I don't know where that's going to lead me. That's nothing to do with me finding a choke or me finding an armbar. It's to do with physically dominating the person. And that has very, very little to do with my techniques, and it has so much more to do with Graham's techniques. Let's talk about someone, they're just pushing me with that hand. If I give them some give, he is dominating me, physically putting me wherever he wants to put me. Let's go back to that same situation again, Graham. He tries to push all of my weight, all of my force, my head, just pressing into his arm. Yes, because I'm doing that, maybe I'm not so good on his hips now. Maybe I'm not so good on his head. But I need to meet every single move by my partner with just a block. Physical dominance. It doesn't have as much to do with strength as it has to do with just paying attention. Being calm and not rushing to make your next move. I'll hijack that question there, but a common question that we get is, Chris, I find the side control and I'm just not sure what to do next. I get a position, I know this is a good position, I'm not sure what to do next. One great answer, not much. Don't do anything next if you want, just hold them, tire them out. If you were playing a football match and 3 minutes had gone by in the match and you hadn't scored a goal yet, you wouldn't panic. The manager wouldn't be making submissions. They would understand that slow progress is part of a sport, especially one where he knows what I'm trying to do and fight back. So I'm holding him here. And I'll tell you who's going to be easier to fight is the guy that's been here struggling for 5 minutes and then is kind of tired, versus I get side control, I try to submit him straight away. I haven't used my weight, my grips, anything like that to tire my partner out. Speaking of my grips, hey, he's trying to push me away here. Look, wherever your hands are, grip. 2 things are helping me pull myself back on top of him. 3 actually. 2 and 1. 1 is my weight and gravity, right? I'm just lying on him. I'm on top. You should be harder for him to push me off than it is for me to pull myself on top of him. But number 2, my arms. I'm in the gym here doing like a row. If he tries to push me, and let's look at the angle of his push. Notice his arm is pushing this way, so it's driving me back here. So I need to pull myself in, not down here. That's not doing anything to fight his push. He pushes me away and I'm pulling down, not at all. How can I dominate this guy? He's pushing in and I'm pushing in as well. And I'm using quite a lot of power here. I'm not doing it fast and hard or sharp. I am like a steamroller here to drive myself back in on my partner. If he's not pushing me with those arms, well then I'm not doing that. Because to feel physically dominated, you need to feel like something's not working. And if he's not pushing me, no problem. As soon as he pushes, grip. And when he dies, boom, next move for me. Maybe I step to the mount, maybe I trap the arm, but feeling my partner, incredibly important. This could happen from the top half guard. This could happen from the back. This could happen from the close guard. Stop them doing whatever it is that they want to do. If that leads you to a submission, that is fantastic. But don't forget, Jiu Jitsu is not just about me finding submissions on you. It is about me stopping you, submitting me. And I would love to fight a Jiu Jitsu fighter who does not get a chance to do a single jiu-jitsu move against me. And if all of my moves leave a lot of gaps and I'm jumping on submissions from here and there, that's great. And I might catch a lot of submissions, but I will never feel physically dominant, physically in control. And to recap one last time, that comes from paying attention to what it is that they want to do. It has way less to do with what you want to do. And if I was fighting against a dummy who was just lying there, not fighting me back, I can have my pick of the submissions. Get his arm, get his neck, get his foot, twist him over, get his back. This is someone who is fighting me back. So don't pay attention to a list of techniques written down. Don't pay attention even to exactly what I did in this video. Pay attention to who is in front of you, which leg they are using more, which foot they are using more. Are they pushing you? Are they sitting their head up? Are they moving their hips? Shut those things down and you're gonna feel good. Nice. That was a bit too fucking long, but sure.